Hello and welcome. My name is Aga. I'm here, the health coach with Candida Cleanser. For those of you who are new and tuning in, I'm the holistic health coach here, and I help people guide people through our gut healing and Candida recovery program. And I'm really excited today. Today's gut rehab lesson, we're actually introducing one of our newest team members, Anna Cromwell. She's going to be joining us as our educator and also as our community holistic nutritionist. And today's episode, we're going to get to know Anna and also welcome her to our community. And today's episode is about blood sugar balancing and hormone health. So, hello, Anna. Welcome.
Hello, it's so good to be here. I'm very excited to be a part of this team.
Yeah, it's good to have you. And we recently met, so I'm also getting to know you as well. So excited to do this little official interview.
Yeah, exactly. Get to know everybody and myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So I want to know about you. So let's go back to, what was your turning point that got you into holistic nutrition? Was it a breakdown, a breakthrough, or just this like wild love for bone broth?
Yeah, so I wasn't, growing up in my teenage years and throughout university, I didn't take the best care of my health. I was, in university drinking, eating out, not really caring about what I put into my body, not really caring about my sleep habits, things like that. And after I graduated from university, I moved to Whistler. And when I got to Whistler, I started working in Whistler Village as a full-time server. So it was long days, hours on my feet, no breaks. So I wasn't eating. I was working, yeah, 9-hour shifts. And then that's kind of when I started noticing my health took a bit of a decline. I started actually developing really bad cystic acne all over my face. And I'd never dealt with this really before, so it was confusing. I didn't know what to do, so I spent a lot of money on, topical creams, exfoliators, things like that, lots of that stuff, and that didn't help. So then I ended up going to see an esthetician and do kind of like, you know, chemical peels, laser, things like that. And that still wasn't helping. And I had like no idea why this acne was here and why it wasn't going away. And that's when I actually discovered an acne nutritionist. So I started working with her, and honestly, like little by little, it started, you know, my acne started to go away. And so we worked on my gut health, we worked on my blood sugar, we worked on my hormones, my sleep, my stress, like all those things. And yeah, my acne went away. And it was just such a crazy, like, moment for me because I didn't know about holistic health or all these things that you can do to, take your health into your own hands and help heal yourself. And so that was kind of like a spark for me. At like that moment, I was like, I want to help other people and I want to help, other women who are dealing with burnout, stress, gut issues, all these things. And so, yeah, that's when I decided I wanted to go back to school and I wanted to study holistic nutrition. And kind of around this time, too, my dad also was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And so that was a big thing for me too. I was like, I want to help him. I want to help other people dealing with these issues. And so, yeah, that kind of started my journey to holistic health was my own struggle with my health and just kind of realizing you can cure, like you can help heal yourself and learning about this and how to help other people heal themselves was, yeah, a big turning point for me. So I think that's where it started.
Yeah, I think that's where we can all, many of us sitting in this position as health coaches, these nutritionists, naturopaths, what often leads us to where we are is our own health mystery. There's that own breaking point of like, okay, this is not normal. What are all these symptoms? I'm going to my doctor. They're giving me pills. That's not working. What else is there? And then this whole other world opens up of like, wow, bone broth and probiotics and like herbs. And I'm
Exactly. Yeah.
curious on your journey when you were working with this practitioner, what was something that was introduced to you that you were like, whoa, this is amazing. Why doesn't everybody know about this?
Yeah, I think kind of like the main thing for me was blood sugar balancing. Like it's such a vital thing to all our health. And I didn't really know the impact blood sugar had on our systems. Same with stress. Like, I don't think people realize how much stress really not just emotionally impacts you, but physically impacts you too. And so, yeah, those things, it was just like, wow. And yeah, gut health. It's like, what? Like, just, yeah, kind of everything was, and how it's all connected. Like, that, yeah, those I think were the
Mhm.
main aha moments for me. But honestly, everything. There's so much still that it's good to know.
Yeah, and like you said, everything's connected. And I personally, I haven't really focused much on my blood sugar. For me, it's been gut health, it's been fungus, it's been mold, it's been liver health. So I'm really excited to pick your brain about what is it about blood sugar. I mean, let's talk about, why is that important, first of
Mhm.
all, and how would somebody know if they're having a blood sugar issue?
Yeah, I think it's super important because again, it impacts everything. Like it impacts your energy levels, like your mood, your sleep, your hormones. I think one of the like kind of main first signs of a blood sugar imbalance is fatigue. I would say mood imbalances, irritability, like if you get hanger, things like that, it's all because your blood sugar is just on like a roller coaster. Yeah, I think, yeah, sleep disruptions, waking up tired even after a full night of sleep, your energy crashes, that's all tied to yeah, blood sugar. I think intense sugar cravings as well. Like all of that, yeah, is tied to blood sugar.
Yeah, and the more I've learned about the blood sugar is I can catch it in myself now where all of a sudden it's like brain power just goes boom. And yeah, and I'm like, I need a nap, or like there's this impulse to reach for caffeine, right? That's the
Yeah.
first impulse. It's like, I'm tired, I need another matcha or whatever it is. And then I think to myself, okay, when was my last meal? Did it have protein in it? And then
Exactly.
I'll go have a protein rich snack. And then literally like 10 minutes later, it's like power back on, boo, literally like booting back up.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think it's so easy to get caught in like that vicious cycle of like cr spikes and crashes because if you don't stabilize your blood sugar, at the beginning of the day, it's going to go down and then you're going to crave caffeine or sugar and then you eat that sugar and then you have a spike, but then it crashes again and it's so easy to get caught in that vicious cycle. And I think if you don't know how to properly balance your blood sugar, yeah, it's easy to feel like out of control. And so, yeah, that's really important.
What happens? Like, what are the dangers of letting prolonged spikes and drops in blood sugar happen? Like, what's the worst case scenario? Where does that lead to?
Yeah, I think, well, constant blood sugar spikes, so there's constantly sugar like circulating your system, and, sugar leads to inflammation, sugar destroys your gut, sugar feeds candida. And so constantly having like sugar throughout your system, it's just terrible. And then, constant blood sugar drops as well. It leads to, again, cortisol. When your blood sugar drops, your cortisol spikes, which causes inflammation. It causes fatigue, and it's just a constant up and down, and your body's just always stressed out, inflamed, and feeding bad bacteria, feeding candida, like all those things.
Yeah, and I imagine that chronic reliance on sugar for energy, it's like putting gasoline on the fire. This is a metaphor from actually I think Nora Goddess when I was doing keto. I've experimented a lot on myself. I've been keto, I've been paleo, I've been raw vegan, um, and but they're talking about when we're sugar burners, and these are what we're talking about, the sugar burners who need caffeine and sugar for energy. It's like throwing gasoline on the fire and it
Yeah,
lights up and then drops
yeah,
versus being more of in a ketogenic state or a blood sugar balanced state. It's like there's this beautiful Yule log that just burns nicely and evenly. So that's like the image I get. And when we're constantly throwing sugar into our body and then caffeine and those cortisol spikes, we're in that chronic fight or flight.
exactly.
And when we're in fight or flight, the body can't repair, the body can't heal, the body can't rest, the body can't assimilate and pull in nutrients. And then it's like I like to give the image of like domino, right? Because everything is connected. it's like one little thing, it can be this domino that just like throws everything off balance, because fight or flight, then yeah, we can't repair. So we can't make digestive juices. We don't make stomach acids. So then
Exactly. Yeah.
pathogens grow in the stomach, and then we're not pulling in our nutrients, and then we're missing a mineral in the brain. So instead of, zinc, we get aluminum, and then now we've got like Alzheimer's. It's like it can go everywhere and it can get nasty fast.
Exactly. And like excessive cortisol and sugar, yeah, like you said, depletes nutrients that we need to repair, digest, and all those things. So it's just, yeah, a vicious cycle that you can get easily caught up in if you don't, know the signs and kind of how to balance your blood sugar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and especially those people who like skip breakfast, or you have like a super carby breakfast, like cereal or a bagel with cream cheese or something, and with a coffee. Like so many people just like eat on the go already in such a fight or flight state. Um, and yeah, like you mentioned, some of the signs are like mood dysregulation, ups and downs, and fatigue. Sometimes people just identify with that, that's how I am, because their
Yeah.
lifestyle have created this kind of like persona of symptoms.
Mhm.
So, you know, I think, like, how do you get out of that loop? Like what are the first things you would start to change in your life?
Yeah, so I honestly, it's really quite simple. And I think, sometimes health and wellness can get overwhelming, but I think, starting with the basics, blood sugar regulation, honestly, you just need to pair fats, proteins, and fibers with your meals, and that will balance your blood sugar. Like, you never want to eat a naked carb. And I say like naked carb as in, just a piece of toast with some jam on top, because carbohydrates break down to sugars, and then sugars just go straight to your bloodstream. So if you have your proteins, your fats, and your fibers paired with it, it takes longer to digest. So it's a slow release of sugar into your bloodstream instead of like that quick hit. So in the morning, have eggs with avocado and toast, instead of, just pancakes or something like that. Like, so honestly, like if you take anything away from blood sugar balancing, it's just pair a protein, a fat, and a fiber, and that will stabilize your sugar. And so with each meal, you want to be doing that. And yeah, it's really that simple, which is why I love it.
Yeah, I mean, like so many classic breakfasts are like corn flakes cereal.
Yeah,
um
just sugary cereal, exactly. And that's just going to go straight to your bloodstream and spike your blood sugar. So, yeah, really just pairing those is an easy way. Another thing is if you struggle with low blood sugar, which is something I struggle with, you want to be eating more often. So, like, aim to eat every 3 hours so you don't get that dip. And then again, like, doesn't have to be full meals, like even just like a snack, like apples with some almond butter. So you have your fiber and your fat with some protein, like just things like that. And that's how I like to stabilize my blood sugar all day. And I do really notice it, like, especially with, yeah, my energy levels, like anxiety. Sometimes if you have low blood sugar, you get that like shaky feeling. Yeah, so those are just some tips to kind of, yeah, stabilize that all day long.
mhm. And so how does blood sugar affect, we talked about hormones, it affects the cortisol hormones. And so I'd want to like shift now into, because you also love hormone health. You're like, you love the blood sugar and then hormone health. So let's speak about that. I mean, um, our audience is a lot of women, so I'll speak to the women. So what is one thing you wish that every woman knew when it comes to her hormone health?
Yeah, I think, like we said, like it all ties together. And if you have dysregulated blood sugar, you have higher inflammation and inflammation and cortisol and stress. And all of this impacts our hormones. So, you know, if we wake up and have a coffee before eating our meals, that's gonna up our cortisol, which is our stress hormone, which then we're not going to be able to, create the hormones we need for reproduction. Like our bodies are going to prioritize, I guess, stressors instead of reproductive health. Like you want to get away from a stressor before you reproduce. So our bodies kind of ignore creating and balancing our hormones because we're so focused on getting out of this fight or flight stress response. So that's kind of how it ties into hormones and things like that. And yeah, just it's, yeah, all links together. And that way, like our bodies are going to say, oh, no, we don't care to, make a baby or balance our hormones. Like we just want to get out of this fight or flight and this stress cycle and blood sugar cycle that we're kind of locked in right now.
And it reminds me of like back to the simplicity of the nervous system where it sees any stressor kind of like the saber-toothed tiger that we need to run away from.
Hmm.
Like, oh no, I have bills to pay. Ah, running for my life. I'm going to die. Or,
Yeah,
I have a conversation that is uncomfortable. I have to confront somebody and maybe express a boundary. Ah, right. It's like, I'm gonna die. We have these like,
exactly.
bursts of cortisol and like blood sugar throughout the day. That's also not just even tied to food, but also like an emotional response. And so the importance of what I'm hearing is like the importance of managing our stress response so the body feels safe. It's not focusing on like, I need to get to safety, I need to get away from danger,
Hmm.
so that we can actually focus on like being healthy and fertile and
Exactly.
radiant. And
Yeah, and a lot of like our, PMS symptoms or hormonal imbalances symptoms come from either like, too high estrogen or too low progesterone, and our body can't, balance, make these hormones if it's too busy focusing on the inflammation and cortisol and stress that comes from our misregulated blood sugar.
mhm, yeah. And I know there's a lot of women struggling with progesterone dominance.
Yeah, and estrogen dominance is a
Sorry,
huge.
estrogen dominance. Yeah,
Yeah,
estrogen
estrogen
dominance.
dominance.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, if we have too much cortisol and if our blood sugar is dysregulated, that affects our detox pathways as well. And then we can't detox excess estrogen. So it just gets, recycled through the body. And too much estrogen contributes to a lot of, you know, things we don't like as well. And, going back to candida and gut health, like estrogen feeds candida as well. And then candida also mimics estrogen in the body too. So it's again just this vicious cycle of, yeah, nonstop.
Yeah, it's like the estrogen dominance is often paired with being stuck in fight or flight
Yeah.
and like running. We're just running.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And if our livers are overburdened with, all this sugar, then it can't, yeah, detox the estrogen properly. And it's, yeah, everything is connected.
Mm. And what would you say is like the um some of the top hormone disrupting things? I know like seed oils are terrible and like Teflon pans.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, toxins, bad oils, processed foods, sugar, excess sugar, hormonal imbalances, stress, all those things. Yeah, and toxins again, there's these toxins that mimic estrogen in the body, which again then contributes to estrogen dominance as well. So just, trying as best we can to live a non-toxic life, like swap, our Tupperware with glass containers or switch to like a clean natural soap and, swap out your aluminum deodorant for a natural deodorant, just like little things like that. So we can, you know, gradually live a less toxic life. And then it just, yeah, it allows our body to be able to detox better, puts less stress on our body, just everything like that.
hmm Yeah, and like one thing to remember is this stuff accumulates. I know some of my clients are like, well, it's been fine. Like I've been using chemical cleaners my whole life and like, you know, what do you call them? Like personal care products, the non-natural, like chemical filled stuff. And like I've been using that for so long and like and it's fine. Then I'm like, we've got all these health issues.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Cumulative, right? And over time, the stuff builds up, and we are exposed to like over 10,000 toxins and chemicals a day, which is like insane when you think about that. It's everywhere, and plastic isn't everything.
Hmm. Yeah, in school I learned about this terminology called like the barrel effect. So you have like your barrel of health, and like years you add to the barrel of like toxins, stress, like all these things, and it gets to a point where your barrel's over flowing. And then that's what people don't understand is like, oh, but I've like always used this. But if you keep adding to it, it's gonna eventually overflow. And so we need to make a bit more space in that barrel by, switching out, our non-toxic things and eating, more organic fruits and vegetables, or even just adding in more fiber. And then it kind of takes things out of the barrel. And then we're able to handle more things when we, you know, I guess, yeah, lessen our barrel's load.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's where it's like coming to this holistic understanding that, you're a holistic nutritionist. I'm also a holistic health coach. Is like there's more to well-being than just the food on your plate.
Mhm. For sure.
Yeah, it's everything adds up, from like the thoughts you're thinking, the how well you feel and express your emotions, the air you're breathing, the water you're drinking, all of that.
Yeah, everything is connected.
Mhm.
So, yeah, then that's the great, like the interesting thing about holistic health is just like if you don't know, you don't know, right? So that's why it's great to educate people, and that's why I love educating people so I can teach others to take their health into their own hands. And they have, knowledge is power. So knowing these things, you're able to make a change for yourself and yeah, improve your health.
Mhm. Yeah, and so when it comes to so blood sugar, you said that the biggest takeaway for that is partnering fats with protein and a fiber.
Mhm.
Never just have simple straight sugars. That's pretty simple and pretty easy. And so when it comes to balancing your hormones, do you have any tips for that? I know one that like ground flaxseed actually helps to pull in excess estrogens. So adding, that into your day-to-day life, into your smoothies. Do you have anything else for us that could help us balance hormones?
Yeah, I think so. That's really great that you said that because there's this thing called seed cycling. And so it's basically your first half of your cycle. So day 1 to 14, give or take, like how long your cycle is. That's your follicular phase. So you want to do, yeah, a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of flaxseed and pumpkin seeds. And so, yeah, the flax seeds helps modulate estrogen, and the pumpkin seeds are really high in zinc, which again is great for modulating estrogen and things like that. And so the second half of your cycle, so day 14, give or take to when you get your period, you want to do sesame seeds and sunflower seeds. And those help with progesterone production. And progesterone is great because since a lot of people have excess estrogen, their progesterone is lower, and progesterone helps with mood, it's calming, it helps you sleep. And just being able to balance those two out throughout your cycle will lead to less PMS symptoms, mood swings, irritability, like all the things that come with, hormonal imbalances. So yeah, seed cycling is really great. Also, just syncing your life to your cycle as well. Like the first half of your cycle, you have more energy, and so you can do things like higher intensity exercises or, planning more creative things versus the second half of your cycle, which is more kind of like for you to go inward, take it easier, do more low impact exercises, give yourself a bit more grace, maybe take it easier on those days. And I think really syncing your life to your, cycle is so important and really helps in every day. And yeah, and I think, yeah, it's great to know even about the two phases. Like before I got into holistic nutrition, I was like, oh, there's like phases to your cycle. So yeah, I think really syncing your life with that is really important as well.
Yeah, I started tracking my cycles and planning my life to that, and it's been really great because,
Yeah.
as women living in a male dominant society where we're, you got to work 9 to 5 every single day. It's like there's no time, there's no rest downtime, but like our biology is different. We can't
Exactly.
function like optimally 24/7 all the time. That's just not how our biology works, and we need these periods of rest. And and I often have this realization, or no, it was a comedian. I was watching a comedian, such a hilarious comedian. She's like, if men were going through the things that we were going through, it'd be very different. If you show up and you were bleeding like on the outside and have this like gaping wound,
Yeah.
and you're like, can I call in sick? Or you show up to work and they're like, what are you
Yeah.
doing? Like you're bleeding, like go home, rest. And you're like, thanks, right?
Yeah.
because it's on the inside, nobody can see it. I mean, there's just so much more around this issue, but like because it's so hidden and like not seen, we forget that it's actually a really big process for the body, and our hormones are constantly dancing every single day. And it's really, this like seed cycling thing is so important, so helpful. And then also that downtime, because as we were speaking before, we are holistic beings and we need that time to rest. We need those moments of pause to go into rest and digest, to really nourish and like reset for the next cycle of energy.
Yeah, exactly. And it just kind of like give yourself grace, like if it's a week before your period and you're feeling exhausted, like that's okay. Like let yourself rest. And I think knowing where you are in your cycle is so empowering as well, because it's like you know what you can do for yourself in these phases, and you expect, how you're going to feel and how you can cope with that. And it's just yeah, it's great. As women, I think we all need to be more in tune with our bodies. And that goes back to holistic health, is just knowing your body and yeah, what you need.
Yeah, and I recently started digging into the work of Fast Like a Girl, or Dr. Mindy Pels. She wrote Fast Like a Girl, and I love this book because it took a lot of science that is actually studied on men, and she was like,
Hmm.
we can't do the same thing men do. Like she's like fasting. There's this huge yeah, like culture around intermittent fasting and long-term fasting and women fasting and women doing like what's it called, high intensity interval training or saunas or ice baths, but we can't do that when we're ovulating. She's like, it's
Yeah,
gonna blow your hormones off, because you when you're ovulating you have to be like super stress free. That's the optimal time to like potentially like seed life. And she like talks about how even just activities have the
yeah,
ability to blow your hormones off. And that time, the classic, you want chocolate or sugar before your period. She's like, listen to that. She's like, you
yeah,
need sugar to create the hormones you need to bleed. It's
yeah.
not sugar craving you need to ignore at that time. It's like your body's intelligence bringing you back into balance.
Yeah, exactly. And like during the second half of your cycle, your body craves, yeah, sugar and carbohydrates. And it's like, but that's because you need more fuel during that time. Like women need more sleep and more food during that time. And that's because of our hormones. And that's okay. Like we need to listen to our bodies. Obviously, still pair the sugars with fats, proteins, and fibers. But still, yeah, like you can eat more carbs during that time if that's what your body needs.
Like I always go for Japanese sweet potato.
Hmm.
Oh, those of you who are listening who don't know about Japanese sweet potatoes, it's like it's that ready purple potato. And if you
Yes.
scratch it, it's white on the inside. It's not purple, it's still white on the inside. And what I do is like I take one of those potatoes and I stab it with a fork and I stick it in the oven for like an hour and I forget. And I come back and then it's oozing this like caramelly liquid.
It's so good.
So I cut it open, I slap a bunch of ghee on there with salt, and it's like doughy, chewy bread donut thing, and it's so good. And then what I love about it is it's a prebiotic fiber, so it feeds your probiotics. It's not like a regular carb like a potato. This thing is magic, invented by the gods for those of us who have a sugar tooth or sweet
Yeah.
tooth want to eat. And I love those before my period. Yeah.
Yeah, and our exactly like and our cravings are telling us things like if you crave chocolate, a lot of women crave chocolate, and it's because dark chocolate has a lot of magnesium in it, and we need more magnesium before our periods too. So it's just, yeah, listen to your body.
Yeah. Yeah, so much. We can like, I mean, probably do a whole series on like
I
women
know.
hormone health and all of that. And yeah, so cool. So we're coming just about on time here. And what do I want to ask? If there's anything, I guess I'm curious, what's a day in your life look like? How do you walk your walk when it comes to hormone balancing and blood sugar harmony?
Yeah, so honestly, my mornings are sacred to me. The most important part of my day. So when I wake up, I mean, you want to get sunlight on your face first thing in the morning. So, don't reach for your phone. Either open your windows. I sleep with my blinds a little bit open just because I like to wake up to the natural light. But if you don't, you can open your blinds, get that light on your face. That helps with your circadian rhythm. It helps with your like stress regulation. Even if you want to go outside, even better for a walk, just 10 minutes, and then come back. And then I always start with a protein, fat, fiber rich breakfast. So I'll usually do like eggs, maybe some turkey bacon, avocado, and some sourdough. I like to start with savory breakfasts. You can make a sweet breakfast. You can still make that blood sugar balancing. It is a bit trickier, but I just am a savory girl over a sweet girl, so I love that. And then yeah, I'll usually make like a matcha with some organic soy milk. Yeah, I'll journal, get my thoughts out for the day. And then, yeah, I'll usually go to work and start my day. I always pack snacks as well. Snacks are a big thing for me. But yeah, I think if you set your mornings up how you want your day to go. Like your day's gonna follow your mornings. If you start your mornings on your phone, stressed, sugary breakfast, like your day is gonna follow that. So yeah, that's usually what I do. And then before bed, again, my nights are sacred to me as well. I don't look at my phone about an hour before bed. So my phone is across the room from me. It's not like on my nightside table. I keep it across the room from me. And I'll usually, again, journal thoughts. Sometimes if I can't sleep because I have a racing mind, I find, doing a little brain dump in my journal helps with that. And yeah, I'll read my book and then I'll go to bed. And depending on where I am in my cycle, I usually aim to get like 9 to 10 hours of sleep. I like sleep. So yeah, I just listen to my body and that's kind of what a day looks like for me.
Hmm. I like that book ending with slow paced intentionality and then ending with like slow paced intentionality to tuck you in.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think, you know, we're all so stressed out all the time every day. So it's really important to kind of start off on a chill note and end that way as well. Whatever happens in our day-to-day life, it's important to kind of end and start fresh. And I think that helps a lot with, my mental health and my physical health as well. So, yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. And some of these things just sound so simple. And I remember, being young, I graduated holistic health coach school, and I think when I was 24, almost a decade ago, 10 years ago. And I remember learning these things and implementing them. And I didn't really see massive results. And because I was so young and I was still so resilient, even though I had my health problems, I didn't notice if I didn't stretch. I didn't notice if I was a little dehydrated or, my food choices didn't have that much of an impact on me. And now as I've aged 10 years later, I notice like, wow,
Mhm.
even 5 minutes of stretching in the morning is huge. I can notice that extra glass of water. I can notice when I have the salad instead of like some sugary, carby thing. It's almost like we take it for granted when we're younger. So this is like the younger audience. If you're watching and you're like, I'm still resilient and invincible. It's like, no, like that's the time to take care of yourself and instill these healthy habits because they really go a long way. And then those who are watching who are a bit older, mid 30s, 40s, it's like, do not underestimate a
Yeah.
lemon water. And then first thing in the morning, do not underestimate breathing.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like even just, yeah, waking up and doing a meditation, it will like set you up for the day. Or I love going for a walk in the morning too, just to get some fresh air. And I notice it if I don't do these things throughout my day. So yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, and remember, it's like you said, like there's so much that can be done, and so many superfoods, and so many health tips, and so many diets. It's like, where do I look? And just remembering that some of the like most potent things are very simple, but just as like you said, that barrel that like accumulates, right? The healthy habits are also accumulative, and if you do something really simple, repeatedly, continuously, you will see results.
Yeah, exactly. And like I think it's easy to get kind of overwhelmed with all the, health trends and things like that. Like I did when I was first starting my health journey. I was like, I have to do everything like all at once, all the time. But the truth is, if you just start with like simple, basic habits, like that will make all the difference. And I always say, like, it's progress over perfection, like you don't have to be perfect and do everything healthy all the time. And if a health trend or something is stressing you out, it's not healthy. So just start small, start with the basics and work your way up. Like you don't have to be perfect right off the bat and do everything, perfectly. And I think, yeah, that's the most important thing. Health is a journey, and yeah, you learn as you go, and progress over perfection.
Mhm. Yeah, beautifully said. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time, Anna. So good to have you. So good to get to know you and have you part of our team.
Yeah, so good to be here. I'm very excited.
hmm And so, for those of you who are watching who are part of our Candida Cleanser community, know that Anna is in our Facebook support group now. So, she's available and accessible. And those of you with questions, feel free to tag her, ask her. Reach out to her. I bet she's taking clients and, just ready to start with one-on-ones. And those of you who are watching who are not part of our community and are like, what is all this? Know that, we are Candida Cleanser. We have one of the most remarkable effective treatments for Candida Cleanser or for Candida fungal infections. And we're more than just like a supplement company. We are a community. We really support you through this journey because recovering from Candida, it's not as simple as popping back a magic pill, even though the pill is pretty magic. Um, there's so much more to recovery, and that's why we've staffed coaches like myself and Anna because we really want to support you, make sure your questions are answered. And so if you're new, like, come join us in the Facebook support group. It's totally free. Link will be somewhere around this video if we're on YouTube below us. Like, come join us, and we're here to support. Yeah. All right, that's it for today. All right, thank you, Anna, again, and those watching, see you later.